welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make a classic French cake called as Napoleon Cake or Mille Feuille. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more recipes in the future. And now let's get started. For this recipe we're going to need puff pastry, vanilla sugar, butter at room temperature, powdered sugar, condensed milk, chocolate and walnuts. First we are going to unpack the puff pastry package and put the puff pastry sheets on the table. Now that we have put the puff pastry sheets on the table, we are going to let them defrost for 10 to 15 minutes or until they're soft. The puff pastry has softened up a bit. We can cut them in two different shapes, rectangular and triangular. While cutting the dough, be careful not to press too hard on it. It becomes fragile once it starts heating up. Now we are going to place the puff pastry on a baking sheet. Make sure to leave some space in between the sheets so they don't melt together in the oven. In the meantime, we can preheat the oven at 200 degrees. If you have a small oven like me, you can bake the puff pastry in 2 batches. Now we are going to make the cream for the puff pastry, which we're going to place in between and on top of it. For the cream we are going to use condensed milk and butter. Make sure that the butter is at room temperature. The condensed milk comes in a can of approximately 400 grams, and for 10 sheets of puff pastry we are going to use about half of it. As for the butter, we are going to use 50 grams of it. It's time to make the cream mixture. For this you can use just a hand mixer. First we are going to mix the butter by itself. Now that we have beat the butter, we can add condensed milk to it. We will now mix the condensed milk with the butter. While we're mixing, we can add about 16 grams of vanilla sugar to the mixture. And now mix it together again. This is the consistency of the cream you will ideally get. Not too runny and not too thick. When the puff pastry has gotten a nice golden color, you can take it out the oven and let it cool down. We will now make the crumbs, which we will use on top of the puff pastry. For this we will use 2 sheets of puff pastry. Crumble them nicely into fine pieces. Now we are going to apply the cream to the puff pastry. Since we have cut the puff pastry into 2 halves, we are going to attach them using the cream. Having attached the puff pastry, we will now spread the cream evenly on top of it so we can sprinkle the toppings. As topping, we are going to use 4 different ingredients: grated chocolate, grinded walnuts, powdered sugar, and of course the crumbs we made earlier. If you don't like one of these, you can just leave it out. As chocolate, I really like this one because it has a high consistency of cacao powder. Now I'm grating it. I've grinded some walnuts because I really like the taste of it. I'll add them now next to the chocolate. We now have all our toppings ready. So we first start sprinkling the crumbs on the puff pastry. Generously cover all the sides. And now add a little bit of some chocolate and some walnuts. Repeat this for all of the puff pastry. As a final step, we are going to apply the powdered sugar to the assembled Napoleon cakes. This cake is great for the holidays when you have guests coming over, but it's also great for a casual day when you feel like eating a homemade dessert. Now it's time to taste it. It's so great. What I like most about this cake is that it does not take a lot of time to make, and yet it looks amazing and elegant. After you finish making the cake with me, please leave a comment down below and of course hit the like button.